Hello, I'm Jeff Leismer, founder and CEO of VibeTech. Thank you very much for joining me today. For those of you that have not checked out the VibeTech booth yet, we do have a product demonstration video there, as well as some other ways of connecting with us, a link to our website. So please do check that out when you have the opportunity. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the future of technology in healthcare for wellness and rehabilitation purposes. So during the session, I'll introduce you to our interactive therapeutic vibration robotic rehabilitation technology that uses smart dosing to deliver very precise treatments based on an individual's capabilities, regardless of whatever condition they have. You'll also learn about some of our unique capabilities that will increase the usefulness and value of the technology in the clinic. These things that we're developing include telemedicine, group therapy, gaming, virtual reality, patient assessments with progress tracking, electronic health records integration, and even more. And then I'll touch on the making use of the technology throughout the continuum of care. I'm giving some examples of some of the payment models that are used to pay for the treatments in various care settings. And I'll cover some of our clinical results, share with you a couple of videos I've previously put together. But most importantly, I'm going to invite you to get involved with the VibeTech. So we've got a number of ways to interact. We are looking for early adopters. We need folks to join our clinical services team, and we're looking for power users and clinical developers to be able to help us develop new and improved protocols, different things that will help different populations, things that make our software more useful for different care settings, different care providers, and be able to develop reports for individuals so they can actually follow along with the care that's being provided to them and see the benefits in real time. So we'd love to get you involved, but let me get you started off by getting you a little more acquainted with what we do. I'll play a video from a video blog that I started called A Series of Good Vibrations.
Did you know that astronauts can lose as much as 20% of their bone mass in a single year in space? Who else loses bone mass? Older adults. Nearly 20 years ago, I invented therapeutic vibration technology as a biomechanical, non-pharmacological approach to bone loss during long-duration spaceflight. This is the same signal that our bodies experience every time we take a step or we contract our muscles. My discovery that the muscles can be contracted even without effort is what led me to start a NASA spin-off company to make this revolutionary technology available to everyone who struggles to exercise. If you're suffering from or caring for an individual that experiences decline due to aging, disability, frailty, pain, or other building blocks of dismobility, this series is for you. Join me, Jeff Leismer, as I walk you through a series of connected stories, testimonials, clinical results, and other features that showcase concepts and innovations to enrich your life.
I hope you enjoyed that segment. I'll be getting those going again soon, and we're trying to get a regular tempo so you can learn a little bit more about what therapeutic vibration is and all of the different potential uses for that. Before we get all of those done, though, I'd like to share a little bit more with you about therapeutic vibration. So therapeutic vibration is when you apply vibrations for a therapeutic purpose. Here we're targeting muscles and the neuromuscular response by applying a certain frequency range of vibrations, getting the muscles to change their length at those frequencies. We can actually trigger a natural stretch reflex. That natural stretch reflex was born from really our bodies adapting to to the mechanical forces that act on it. The impact from walking has ground reaction forces that contain vibration. Those vibrations come at frequencies that can cause soft tissues to resonate. So the muscles over time learned that if the muscles bounce back and forth too far and other soft tissues are shaking and resonating, that the muscles can actually contract to cancel out that vibration. And too much of that vibration could actually lead to nerve damage or other vascular related issues. We actually have ISO 2631 is an international standard that limits exposure to vibration for different activities. So for power tool users, for truck drivers bouncing around in seats. So it's an important group to make sure that companies in the therapeutic vibration space are developing products that, that adhere to those standards and those safety limits. Because that stretch reflex mechanism is only valid until our muscles fatigue and we no longer are able to have our muscles respond to the vibration and contract to help cancel them out. So we've got a very narrow therapeutic window that is actually very safe if we apply this right. And that's why I chose this signal as opposed to electricity to be able to get the muscles to contract involuntarily. Those are really the only two things you can do. Mechanical vibrations applied within the tonic vibration reflex range, or electrical stimulation, which you do through electrodes placed on the skin, or invasively by inserting needles right down to the muscle bellies to get deeper muscles and be able to get some of those contractions. But that can be painful, and there are a lot of contraindications. For instance, anybody with an implantable medical device that can short circuit because of electricity being passed through it is contraindicated for treatment. I like to make something that is accessible to everybody, that no matter how deconditioned they are with whatever condition they might have, that they should be able to benefit from muscular stimulation, from this biomechanical force that's going to act on the body to cause it to react in a positive, beneficial way and adapt, so that there are some benefits of exercise without putting forth effort. So that's what therapeutic vibration is. When is it appropriate to apply it? It's really something that's applicable to everybody from the moment that they've had an injury or surgery. This can be used to help reduce pain. You know, there definitely are precautions that you want to have when doing this. I think that it's good to have a doctor on board that understands that you don't need pain medicine to alleviate pain. You can actually apply mechanical vibrations within this therapeutic range and actually get the muscles to contract gently to fight off atrophy and help reduce pain and swelling all at the same time. So it's a really intriguing new modality. And the trick is, again, delivering it safely, but delivering it to get the best therapeutic outcome. And to do that, you're looking at, are you dealing with a chronic type of an issue, or are you dealing with an acute issue? How do you get the vibrations to the point in the body where it's needed the most? Most of the time, that's the entire lower extremities if you're trying to get somebody to improve their strength so that they can stand and walk. We also can direct the vibrations into the body through the feet, which is the natural way that vibrations are absorbed during impact from heel strike during walking. And by generating resistance forces through a leg press machine, we are able to get people to have a voluntary contribution in addition to the involuntary muscle contractions that we get from the vibration. So really, it's a good way to get somebody their first exposure to exercise before they can go through physical therapy after an injury or surgery to help slow that atrophy. I've benefited. I ruptured my Achilles about 5 years ago now. The day the surgeon reattached it, I was already doing treatments on my device. I'm putting these mechanical forces gently into my body without overstretching. And I was actually at 2 months given the go-ahead from that same doctor to go ahead and get back to jogging, getting back into martial arts. And those are things you normally wouldn't do at that point. At 2 months, I didn't even have a limp. So I'm just one example of that. There are a number of others. We've had over 20,000 patient treatments with lots of success stories. But the trick is delivering the vibrations in the right way and controlling the protocol so that you can maximize the gains for the patient. Well, you might ask about how does somebody respond to a treatment. So what's actually happening to their strength? So I'm going to show you an image here, and there you go. We should be able to see that. So this is strength versus treatment duration. So normal exercise, if you're doing a leg press and working yourself out, kind of maximizing what you're doing, you're going to leave the gym not as strong as when you got there. So your legs will be fatigued. So your strength starts out at a high level, and then it just gradually comes down until you're exhausted and you can't do anymore. But with therapeutic vibration, we're activating dormant muscle fibers. We're able to get the small muscle groups engaged in activities before the major muscle groups fatigue. So now we're able to call on all of the muscle fibers throughout our lower extremities because we've stimulated them with vibration in the right way. So as those fibers are activating, you're actually making somebody stronger. So it might start off with a strength here, so time versus strength on the vertical axis. And they might start off at a set point on the strength scale, but then after a minute, they're going to be stronger. They'll be moving up. 2 minutes stronger, 3 minutes stronger. They'll go up to a peak before they plateau, and then they come back down as their muscles start to fatigue. Our goal, our job over the last decade of doing research and development is to really perfect the signals. We have strived to get people to end the treatment right at that peak so that they're a super version of themselves for a matter of a couple of hours while those muscle fibers are active. While they're super versions of themselves, they can partake in more physical activity. If they're in a rehab department, they can go through more therapy. People who are low functioning and refuse therapy find that this is a really enjoyable thing. Oftentimes, if they were refusing therapy, the therapist will ask, well, do you want to try a VibeTech treatment? You'll sit there for 10 minutes, let the machine do the work. Well, sure, of course I will. So then that helps get them in the door to do more therapies. So it's something that short term you have strength gains. That leads to the capability of doing more functional activities throughout the day. But over time, you also have some really good benefits. So I'll share a little bit more about those in a little bit. But we've really designed the treatments to be in that 10 to 15 minute window. We find that that's a good duration to keep somebody captive and engaged in what they're doing. We could go longer. We scale the treatment dosing accordingly to get somebody to reach their peak at the end of that longer period. So these are all things that are doable right here. Now, the form factor of the equipment, let me show you a couple of pictures. This is the VibeTech 2, and that's my dad using it right there. It's formed as a seated leg press machine. There's a swivel seat to easily get in and out of the chair from a wheelchair or just while walking and approaching it. It's got a database on there that's able to store user information. So a little bit of information that's input at intake about that user, as well as their strength, their range of motion, and how those values change with each treatment and over time. So very unique capabilities. Here's an image of a gentleman with his legs flexed. Next image is of them with their legs extended. So you are doing leg presses on this. You can adjust your foot position, where you put the pressure, you can really use this machine as a dose delivery system to deliver vibrations to where they're needed most. So if you had an acute issue, we could directly hit that up. Now, that was a nice machine. It was also, a much smarter version of the VibeTech one that we had produced earlier and done a lot of treatments on very low functioning patients. But now we're evolving into the point when we need to make a technology that's accessible to all. Wheelchair transfers are not always possible. You don't have the staffing at your facility, or somebody's in long-term care and doesn't have a nurse on site all the time. Maybe the rec therapists aren't qualified to do wheelchair transfers. So you double up on staff members to move people around. We want to avoid all of that. We want this to be very easy to use. We want a portable system that can deliver therapeutic vibration where it's most convenient for the person in need, so the care recipient. So we now have developed a product we call the VibeSit PRO. The VibeSit PRO will be available soon for pre-order starting in March. So advance some photos here. You can wheel up to it in a wheelchair. You can have the device wheeled up to it. We've got a fancy handle system on here that allows for a user to grab a hold of it for ergonomic purposes, to keep the body in line, also to mount the iPad that's going on top. There's the human machine interface. You can rock that back, flip the machine up onto its casters, and cart it around to go from room to room to room. So a very neat technology. We also are envisioning virtual reality being used with this. While somebody's pushing, directing forces from their feet up through their center of gravity with the direction of the ground reaction forces, we're actually training them to have better balance, but while they're seated, because that's how our bodies are aligning. Every time we go to stand up, we lean forward, so our center of gravity is in line with the ground reaction forces when we push up. If we're not in line with that and we're pushing up, we just fall back. Or if you're leaning too far forward with your center of gravity past where that line of force should be from the ground reaction forces, you'll fall forward. So here we're actually training an individual with partial body weight loading to push through their center of gravity to teach them better balance, but maybe while they're in a wheelchair, maybe they're unable to stand. So a very unique capability. This is my living room with some cat toys in the background, but that was an early prototype of the VibeSit PRO, so you can use it really anywhere. Here's a concept image with a cover on the machine in the VibeTech office. So a small portable machine, very easily accessed by anybody. So now we've seen a little bit more about our technology. I'm going to share just a brief little bit about capabilities that we currently have in development. Telemedicine is something we've done on the VibeTech too. We've had machines in various settings, one in an assisted living apartment for 3 months, another in a home for a month. But very easily we're able to call in, talk with the resident, and log into the machine and operate the machine from afar. We do assessments on the patient, show them their progress, as well as administer the treatment. So that's a capability that's going to be featured in the VibeSit PRO as well. Group therapy, there are things that can be done. You can have multiple machines, very easy to operate. You could have 4 patients going at a time with 4 different units in a single setting, or you could do that with a telenetwork and actually group individuals from multiple locations all together while they're all following you, similar to Peloton and how you've got one instructor for many people. Gaming is absolutely there. That's coming in our future. We've got multiple college student teams right now that are prototyping some different games for us. We also actually just had a conversation today with a university and a team of professors that from all different walks of life, different departments, all working together for a similar purpose. And we're looking at working together to develop some gaming programs, in particular virtual reality. We've got patient assessments and progress tracking that we're developing, even better than what we already have in the VibeTech 2. And we're also going to work towards implementation of electronic health records integration. But let me just share a quick video with some of our brief exploration so far into the world of virtual reality with our equipment.
So I'm getting ready to immerse myself into a virtual reality experience with the VibeTech 2. Should be a lot of fun. This has been fun creating this VibeTech. So you can see the words right here. And all the while, just been hanging out here using the VibeTech 2.
So that was fun. Just starting to explore. I mean, we didn't have the machine and the VR setup connected yet, but that's something that we're working towards integrating right now. So our machine actually can serve as a controller, as an input to be able to control the operation of the machine, to control them or interact with a game to make it much more engaging. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the continuum of care. So our technology being designed around the needs of those who have the lowest function and the lowest, whether it's cognitive or physical. We have done things with memory care residents. We found a 45% reduction in falls in a pilot study at one nursing home's memory care unit with a handful of patients. We found they enjoyed that treatment. But long-term care, memory care, skilled nursing, rehab, looking at even within inpatient rehab facilities, you name it, those are some of the higher acuity levels that we are working in from a treatment standpoint. Assisted living falls into that bunch as well. But you can also use this on that wellness and prevention side. So independent living facilities, we just started a clinical trial at independent living condominium. So that's off to a good start. We can use this in outpatient clinics as well as in home care. That's something that the portable device will enable, is that machines can either be rented to a facility or to an individual, and they can go and administer treatments. They can log on remotely, do telemedicine. You can look at with outpatient clinics, Medicare Part B does reimburse for treatments on the VibeTech device. This is an FDA regulated product. We are listed. We are able to also have Medicare Part A. We contribute to the quality of care so that patients are using our technology at a much lower functioning status than what they can do a lot of other rehab types of modalities. So we can get them started sooner on their path to recovery from whatever landed them and wherever they're at. And so from a pain relief, circulation improvement standpoint, even with some of the acute types of injuries, we've seen a handful of folks that have come to our office for treatments that have had some very nice benefits for that as well. So there are, so insurance is reimbursing, Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B are reimbursing. If you're in a long-term care environment, there's restorative nursing programs that allow for billing to take place for doing a range of motion exercises. We're also interested in developing partnerships with organizations that want to work with us in value-based care. So a lot of options to engage.
Superhumans make for a great storyline in the movies. But what if I told you that it's actually possible to create a superhuman? Would you want to become a super you? Technology is now available to push human ability beyond what we previously thought was possible. We now know that it's possible to temporarily make somebody 20% stronger after just 10 minutes of treatment. With properly tuned therapeutic vibration, we've been able to see people double their strength who have been living with neuropathy and balance impairments. Imagine tripling your strength in just 90 days from a single treatment a week. That's pretty incredible. It's like something straight out of a book. With greater strength comes increased physical confidence, reducing your risk of falling. Users state that they feel more empowered to do additional physical activity after treatment. Our series of good vibrations could turn the dial on dysmobility, thereby reducing the risk of suffering a fall.
So the individual you saw there had neuropathy, tripled her leg strength in her left leg, doubled it in her right leg after 10 treatments applied on average of once every 10 days. So she had some tremendous benefits there over the long haul. We've seen that in a number of other individuals as well. It's not just the immediate benefits that you see, but there's a long-lasting benefit. So these are individuals that would otherwise normally remain level with their strength and mobility or be on a decline. And so we're actually able to create an inflection upwards to be able to help increase their strength and their mobility.
Do you struggle to put on your shoes and socks? Is it painful to get out of bed in the morning? Jane is a professional home caregiver, and she's a regular at the VibeTech office. Her clients have pointed out that she's much more flexible than she used to be, noticing that she's able to bend and squat and get at things that she didn't used to be able to get at. Bob is a retired systems engineer and human factors engineer. He's also a guitar enthusiast and plays the ukulele. Whenever he's had a treatment, his pain level drops from a 7 out of 10 to a 0 in just a matter of minutes. We all strive to be like Bob or Jane, to find effective non-pharmacological remedies to the ailments that limit our capabilities. I dream that there will be a day that you have no more knee pain, which makes you struggle to walk up and down the stairs. No back pain preventing you from rolling out of bed with a smile on your face, and such great flexibility that you can switch back from Velcro to laced shoes. While that problems with pain and range of motion limit your mobility, putting you at an ever-increasing risk of suffering a fall the longer that you live with these ailments.
From that segment, we can see that there are some pretty nice improvements that people are able to actually achieve from treatment. Let me show you a few images, and get started here. So just vibrations applied through the feet can produce benefits like this. We had 52 people come through our office for treatments, and they averaged being 20% stronger after they left office from just a single 10-minute treatment. They could go 32% deeper into a squat, but instead of having to worry about getting them back up, this was a passive squat depth test. So while they were seated on the machine, we were able to move their legs close to them until they got to their limit of comfort, where any further would make them uncomfortable. And we tested them before and after each treatment. They averaged being 32% further into a squat. So this is a poster we presented at ACRM discussing it, the work we did in our office for that study. Here's another study we did looking at pain relief, where we found that participants had a 66% reduction in pain after treatment. Another really impressive pilot study showed a 45% reduction in the number of falls in the 6 residents in memory care who underwent 3 months of treatment 1 to 2 times a week. So highly impressive. That also resulted in another poster that we presented at ACRM. Now that you've learned about the clinical results that are possible with us, some of the new exciting things that we're bringing to market in the next couple of months, I'd love to share with you some different ways that you can engage with VibeTech. So how to get involved with VibeTech? So we're looking for early adopters of our technology. So if you're a care provider, we are a facility owner, we would love to talk to you, therapists that work for these organizations, whatever your involvement is. If you're a volunteer, if you're a student intern, we really would like you to engage and get your facilities on board. And we're just getting ready to take pre-orders starting in March for the new VibeSit PRO. We'll have financing available so that facilities can generate revenues right from the beginning and actually get a profit in that first month of using the equipment. And we're also interested in exploring kind of the shared risk reward system with innovation partners as well that want to partake in a value-based care model. Another way to get involved is to become a team member or a power user. So power users are folks that are going to really be very hands-on with our equipment and want to help guide future developments with it, whether it's a software feature, an accessory, another way of using the equipment, different modalities, different use cases. We want creative folks, very creative, caring, passionate folks to be able to engage with. So if that's you, let's talk. We're looking to build out a clinical services team, as well as to add sales reps. And if you are somebody with a therapy background, that will definitely help with the processes. We're looking for individuals from a part-time basis. We will be going into the future looking at some full-time positions. But also, if you're an intern, a student, we're working on different projects right now with a couple of university campuses, and we definitely be interested in seeing how we can engage with you. But also very interesting, if you want to partake as an owner in VibeTech, now is your chance. We have gone public via the SEC's equity crowdfunding regulations. So for investments as little as $300, you can own a piece of our company. And I'd love to get involved with you on that capacity. And I think that you'd be able to really share in the joy of helping people out and improving quality of life for millions of underserved folks that just don't have the means to be able to exercise independently. If you want to learn more, you can check out our crowdfunding platform. Our portal that you can go to is wefunder.com/VibeTech. That's WEFUNDER.com/VIBETECH. Our campaign closes on April 11th, so you've got a narrow window to jump on in and to own a piece of our company.